What's going on, good people? Good afternoon. Hope things are continuing to go well for you all. And the Seattle Seahawks have had their 11th day of training camp come and go. Wrapped up a couple of hours ago. I wasn't able to make a video earlier, but I'm making the video now. Let's talk about what we heard at the VMAC. Mostly good news, I would say, especially with one particular very important piece of the puzzle here. So we're going to spend some time on that. Not that there's a ton to say about it, other than that it's good. It's better than expected. Let's lead things off with that big news. Please click the thumbs up button on this video. Subscribe if you're new. Click the bell for notifications. Become a channel member for $2 a month. Best ways to support the channel. Check out my stuff over on Bleacher Report. Again, you can access it through the website as well as the app. Here it is, people. Charles Cross was back in uniform doing work on the field today. That's right, Charles Cross. You can see him here in the picture that Boyle has. He's right next to Zabel. And this is, let's remember here, about 3 weeks earlier than expected. He didn't do everything, but this is about 3 weeks earlier than he was anticipated to get back on the field to be able to do work. And there's no pressure on him to get out there right now, right? It's not like the first regular season game's in a couple of days. No, there's no reason for him to be doing this unless they have 100% confidence he's going to be fine. Great news. I don't expect him to play in preseason games anyway. And he only did individual stuff today, and it may be that way for a while. But if there was any concern about him missing time in training camp and not playing very well in the season for the first month because of it, I think that concern has diminished significantly. Also back today was Christian Haynes, although there was a thing on his shoulder, so it doesn't seem like he's all the way back. My understanding is that most of his work was done as a backup left guard today, so he's still having a little bit of a hard time finding a soft landing spot for a starting job. It seems like Bradford's beat him out for the time being. Everything I read today from the reporters indicated that Bradford, he's going to be the guy. And obviously there's time, but that means there's nowhere for Haynes to play really at this point. So yeah, there's more stuff on Cross here. He was back on the field. Here he is going through some of the drills. Again, he didn't really get out there and work with the team, but he's doing more than enough to make us as fans feel comfortable. I think that he is well on track to be ready for the regular season and probably pretty much 100% at that point. Some other injury notes, though. There was one player who did not practice today. It was K9, Ken Walker, resting his sore foot. So Charbonnet continues to be the lead back, filling in that role, and a couple people have been talking about this recently. Don't be surprised if Charbonnet does end up playing more than Walker this season. I think Charbonnet is a better third down back anyway, so that's going to give him a lot of snaps because he's the better passing down guy. And Walker's probably just not going to play all 17 games. Very few running backs are going to play 17 games anyway, and Walker in particular is going to struggle to get there. So, yeah, I would not be alarmed about this. I know there's an instinctual desire on the part of Seahawks fans to be alarmed about anything going on with K9 because he has had such a hard time staying on the field in his career. But I don't think this is something to be alarmed about. We are more than a month away from regular season football. Walker is a veteran at this point. He does not need every single training camp session. I would just look at this as business as usual. Tyrese Knight also got dinged up at the end of practice and sat out the end of it. No indication on how serious it is. I don't get the sense it was very serious, though. I think that if it were serious, we would have heard a lot more about it. I think that the fact that I only really heard about the Knight thing from Condota is indicative of the fact that it's minor. Now, that is an injury we also cannot really survive because the linebacker depth is so thin. Not to say that Knight is the greatest inside linebacker of all time or some all-pro or anything like that, or I don't even think he's necessarily going to be a Pro Bowler or a Pro Bowl caliber player. I'm not asking for that. I don't think that's reasonable, but the depth is very thin there, so bad news there is not welcome, but it doesn't seem like it's a big deal. Field Goals fielded some questions based on their observations from camp so far. They put together a few posts on X where they outlined some of the things that they were thinking. So to run them down real quick here, they think the Cup has looked great. More good stuff from Horton, more on that later. There is a belief that Bobo is going to make the team. I think it seems like they like his size enough to make the team. And then they think MVS makes the roster, which even though I think the door has opened a little bit, I still think he makes the roster. So the observation there becomes, who is that sixth receiver if they carry six receivers? Derek Young, Cody White, and Ricky White all battling for that last spot, if there is indeed a last spot. Derek is the guy I've heard the most from during this offseason so far. At the same time, though, Derek is entering the last year of his rookie deal, and a guy like a Ricky White, rookie, cheaper, and also has a little more upside because he's younger, might be more appealing. And then you got Cody White, a guy who actually did some stuff in a regular season game last year, filling in when DK got hurt. He actually made a couple plays against the Rams. So that's going to be an interesting one to watch, and I'm hoping some of the guys that don't make it to the practice squad. Continues to believe that Oluwatimi is going to be the starting center over Sundell. I'm going to have to learn how to pronounce that. It's not Sundell, it's Sundell. This lines up with everything that I've seen so far. Oluwatimi is going to be the starting center, which, again, I'm not enamored with it, but it's fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think he will be fine. I don't know if he's going to be more than that, but I can live with that for the time being, especially if we make a nice little upgrade at left guard, upgrade at tackle, maybe we find something at right guard. We can live with an okay center as long as the center is reliably okay. And I guess that was kind of the issue with Connor Williams. We couldn't rely on him, even though he was better than Oluwatimi. You never knew when he was going to send a snap over the quarterback's head. And he also had some bad reps, too, some really ugly reps. All right. Sundell did handle all the center snaps because Oluwatimi was not there. We don't know why he wasn't there. Doesn't seem like a big deal. Again, I didn't hear enough about it to believe that it's a big deal. Sundell getting all the center snaps with the ones because of Olu being out is a fairly strong indicator that Haynes has kind of lost his opportunity to take the spot there. And with that, like I was saying earlier, it's just hard to imagine him starting for this team now. And that's rough. That is rough. That's a third-round pick. That's a guy who was supposed to be pretty much ready to go out of the box. That's a guy who was depending very heavily on the new offensive system favoring his skill set more, and not happening. Didn't happen. McDonald was not at practice today. He was away for a personal matter. Leslie Frazier was doing the duties of McDonald. This is one of those moments where you're really happy Leslie Frazier is sticking around. He's a great guy for this role, this associate head coach role. I can't think of anybody I'd rather have than Leslie Frazier. This was a great hire last year that we made. Really happy to have him here. The fact that we have a guy with head coaching experience and so much overall NFL experience is great. Makes you feel like these moments where McDonald isn't present, you're not going to miss that much. McDonald, by the way, I don't think it's anything significant. They expect him back very soon and don't expect there to be really any impact from him not being there, but he was not there. Some of the individual plays from training camp today, to run those down. Not a ton of them, but we've got a little bit. Condota noted that Derek Hall ran into Sam Darnold by accident, and there was a little bit of a, they call it a dust up, but a skirmish with the offensive lineman and Derek Hall, because you're not supposed to hit the quarterback in training camp for obvious reasons. Probably just got a little overamped. It happens. It's not a big deal, but that was one of the plays that got featured. A few more plays. Dugar outlines a couple here. Darnold hitting AJ Barner on a 3rd and long for a first down, and it was kind of bold when I said it, but I still feel like AJ Barner is going to actually do more. He's going to have more receiving output than Arroyo this season. I think he's going to. I feel like he's earning those reps as a receiver as well. And I know Arroyo is a more talented receiver, Barner might be more well-equipped to actually play in the NFL right now because of that year of experience. Drew Lock hitting Cody White for a crossing route touchdown under pressure in the red zone. Drew Lock continues to have a good camp. Milroe hits Ricky White for a first down, a hole shot. So those would be the standout plays for each quarterback today. Pretty, again, everything I've read indicates that this is Darnold's job, and that's pretty much a done deal. I wouldn't expect there to be a quarterback battle here, but the way Locke and Milroe play still matters. Locke may very well play some football this year at some point. Milroe's going to at least do trick play package stuff, and obviously his development is very important to the future of this team. You get to the post-game pressers, because again, there wasn't a ton of stuff to say about what happened on the field. It feels like the team is settling into a little bit of a rhythm, and the things that are happening on the field are not quite as notable. But one of the things that really is getting highlighted day after day, Tory Horton. Tory Horton was given a press conference or news conference or whatever, and Reek Woolen just walked by and called him Jerry Rice Jr., and this echoes some of the stuff that we're indicating. Not to say that he is actually Jerry Rice Jr., but everything we're hearing about Tory Horton right now is very positive. Every practice, it seems like he is doing something to get people's attention in a good way. He was with the ones again today, catching passes from Sam Darnold. And he also had an interesting claim. And this reminds me of the stuff that people are hoping with when it comes to Elijah Arroyo. Wide receiver says he wasn't even 70% healthy from the October knee surgery that ended his final season when he ran his 4.41. That makes me think of the stuff that people say about Arroyo, that he wasn't healthy last season throughout the whole year, really. And the anticipation, the hope at least, is that, excuse me, wow, excuse me. The anticipation is that when he's healthy, he's going to be a much more athletic and fast and agile tight end. Tory Horton's kind of saying the same thing here. He ran a 4.41 when he wasn't even 70% healthy, and that he is now basically healthy. And again, these are speculative comments. These do not mean that we can count on having some speed demon this season, that he's going to be running a 4.19 or something out there. But on a team that is lacking outside speed at the moment, on a team that doesn't have top-end speed from their receivers, if Tory Horton can actually run like a 4.3 something, if Tory Horton can be a speedy outside threat that takes the top off along with MVS, then you've really got something there, and you don't really have that big of a problem, because MVS is fast. It's the Cup and JSN stuff that you worry about a little bit. This is exciting to hear. Even if it ends up not bearing fruit, this is exciting to hear. We also got Bory Mafe talking about the fact that he's in the final year of his rookie contract. He downplayed it. He's just here to play. He's just here to be a Seahawk. It's just another year to him. But we all know he wants that money. And I'm pretty ambivalent on whether or not we decide to pay him now or wait and see what happens. I don't feel like we're going to. I don't think it would be a bad idea, but I don't think it's a bad idea to wait either. Mafe is a player that I'm not sure is part of the long term here. And maybe you want to leave your options open on this one. I understand this one a lot more than the Cross one. I'll put it to you that way. We also got an unofficial depth chart for the Raiders game. I'm going to make a separate video later to go over this. A couple of roster notes. AJ Finley went to IR, so his season is believed to be over. They signed a long snapper, Zach Triner, because Chris Stoll is currently hurt. Really hoping Chris Stoll is fine soon. I do not want to be messing around with the long snapper situation right now. We also signed a linebacker, Michael Dowell. Don't know very much about him, but he's been on the team before. So he is now back in the fold. Those are the roster notes. Curtis Allen has a couple of notes about things that he has now heard. Some of the things gone over by on what is it, 710, about how he thinks they may be looking to add Clowney, or he's hearing they may be looking to add Clowney. Has some other speculative stuff here that's interesting. Doesn't think they'll trade for Parsons. Can't rule out McLaurin interest. I hope it would be the other way around, but either way, unlikely anything happens. Thinks Tory Horton is the number 4 receiver and punt returner. May leapfrog MVS, which again, very exciting. and thinks Mike Morris will make the final 53. All right, that's it for this. See you guys later. Go Hawks.